From the Collins Aerospace Studio at the Nordloff Center in downtown Rockford, it's time for Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl, Junior Edition.
Welcome to Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl, Junior Edition. We have a huge crowd on hand for our second semifinal of Season 4 between two fantastic teams. One of these teams will be playing against Belvedere Central in next week's final. Let's find out who. And we'll start by introducing the Marshall Mustangs. Now, Marshall made it here after getting past North Boone 460 to 200. Jimmy led the way with 11 buzz-ins in that game. Sophia, you're the captain. Go ahead and introduce.
Hi, I'm Sophia, and to my left is Benji, to my right is Jimmy, and to my far left is Tori. Or wait.
The important thing is that we can always edit out the directions in post. You're good. And going up against the Keith Country Day Cougars. Keith made it here by getting past Rockford Lutheran 480 to 110 behind Ottman and 15 correct buzz-ins in that game. Ottman's the captain. Go ahead and introduce.
On my right is JJ, on my near left is Anthony, and on my far left is Sahidi.
Welcome, welcome. Good luck to both teams. This is a rematch of last year's finale, when the Cougars beat the Mustangs 390-250, a very high-scoring game. Naturally, Marshall's looking to get revenge, but it's going to be a friendly revenge if it happens. These teams have been rooting for each other all season. They rooted for each other at Nationals this May, where they both made the playoffs. And this goes back more than that. Jimmy and Ottman were roommates at Quiz Bowl camp. And yes, like all good things, there is a summer camp for Quiz Bowl. So let's get this underway with the Rockford University buzz-in round. Both teams know this very well. It's 10 points for each toss-up. If you get a question wrong, the other team can buzz in, but they can hear the rest of the toss-up as they like. Remember to make sure that it is your buzzer before you give your answer. And we'll start with the first toss-up. What landmark was called a gigantic black smokestack by the Committee of 300 Artists when it was built for the 1889 World's Fair? That is Anthony.
The Eiffel Tower.
The Eiffel Tower is correct for the first 10 points of the game. Next question. Name the three-part novel in which the members of the Fellowship journey to Mount Doom to help Frodo Baggins destroy the... That is Ottman.
Lord of the Rings.
Is the name of the novel. That's 10 points for Ottman and for Keith. Next toss-up. What man whose "how long, not long" speech notes that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice, and also gave the "I've been to the..." That is Anthony.
Martin Luther King Jr.
Is correct for 10 points. 3 in a row for Keith. Next question. What behavior, extreme examples of which are performed by Arctic terns, wildebeest, and monarch butterfly? That is Jimmy.
Like migration?
Migration's what we're going for. First 10 points for Marshall. Name the U.S. state in which the Reagan and Dulles airports provide access. That is Ottman.
DC.
I'll finish for Marshall. Provide access to Washington, D.C., to the state's north. The state also contains the Pentagon and the city of Richmond. Benji.
Virginia.
Richmond, Virginia for 10 points. Next toss-up. What literary character is the ghost of a Hessian soldier who... That is Jimmy.
Headless Horseman.
The Headless Horseman from The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. 10 points. Marshall ties the game. Next toss-up. What kind of literary device opens the Robert Burns poem, A Red, Red Rose? That is Jimmy.
Like a simile.
It is a simile. My love is like a red, red rose. For 10 points, Marshall takes the lead. What singer formed a band with The Scene to release Love You Like a Love Song in 2011 and collaborated with Rema in 2022 on the song Calm Down? That is Sophia.
Like Taylor Swift?
Sorry, no. Keith has a chance at it, though. Then go for it.
Miley Cyrus.
Sorry, no, those are both good guesses. It's Selena Gomez. We'll go to the next toss-up. What body tissue is protected from UV radiation by melanin? That is Ottman.
Skin.
Skin's what we're going for. 10 points. Tie game. In what game did 17-year-old Gukesh D, that is Ottman.
Chess.
That is a chess player. That's 10 points for a very quick buzz there. Next question. What mathematical term describes both a line segment that connects a triangle's vertex to the opposite midpoint and the middle number that is Ottman.
Median.
Median is correct. Good quick buzz there for 10 points. What type of structure is the Pont des Arts, where French officials had to ban the practice of love locks, as well as, that is Ottman?
Bridge.
It is a bridge. That is 10 points for Keith. What quantity, which is highest for osmium and iridium among elements on Earth, that is Jimmy?
Radiation.
Sorry, no, I'll finish for Keith. Is symbolized with the Greek letter rho and is equal to an object's mass divided by its volume. Anthony, go for it.
Density.
Density is correct for 10 points. Next toss-up. In what Tchaikovsky ballet is Prince Florimund, that is Anthony?
Swan Lake.
Sorry, no, I'll finish for Marshall. Is Prince Florimund helped by the Lilac Fairy, who makes it possible for him to rescue the Princess Aurora by kissing her awake? Jimmy?
Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty is the Tchaikovsky ballet there for 10 points. Next toss-up. What governing body, whose size was held stable after the switch in time that saved 9, was going to be packed by FDR? That is Anthony.
Supreme Court.
Is correct for 10 points. Next toss-up. Name the Greek god who killed Niobe's sons to defend the honor of his mother. That is Atman.
Apollo.
Apollo is correct. Good quick buzz for 10. What royal name is shared by a universal spider and a saint who died during the 8th Crusade, as well as by a sun king who ruled for, that is Anthony?
Louis.
Louis is correct. Those are all kings of France. Louis 11, 9, and 14. With a scintillating first round, we have a score of Keith 110, Marshall 50. We'll have those scores there for the volleyball round coming up next. Welcome back to Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl Junior Edition. Our second semifinals off to a rocking start. We have Keith Country Day on 110, Marshall on 50, going into the volleyball round. Before we start, let's have a nice introduction for our judge this evening. Coach Linda Green is an IHSS BCA Hall of Fame coach, multi-time national champion, and we're very grateful to have you along with us today to make sure we get everything right. Thank you so much, Coach. Into the volleyball round. Due to the coin flip, Keith Country Day, you're going to start us off. And you're very familiar with the rules by now, but just remember, answers need to come from the captains. For Keith, right now, that's Ottman. And for Marshall, right now, that is Jimmy for this round. So, Keith, your first volleyball question. What blood vessels, whose largest example is the aorta, carry blood away from the heart, the opposite behavior of veins?
Arteries? Okay. Arteries.
Arteries is correct. Nicely conferred, 10 points. Over to Marshall. What kind of creature is the title ballerina in the 2024 film Abigail, which is based on the 1936 film Dracula's Daughter?
Like a vampire. Oh, a vampire. Yeah. Vampire.
Vampire is correct.
Okay, that'll work.
You think you got it bad? Try having Dracula for your dad. See how that looks on you. Back over to Keith Country Day. In the novel Fahrenheit 451, Guy Montag is a fireman whose job is to burn what objects? One of which he later memorizes in order to preserve it.
Books.
Books is correct for 10 points. Back over to Marshall. What natural features are governed by the goddess Pele, who was said to live in Kilauea's caldera and cause its eruptions?
Volcano.
Volcano is correct for 10 points. Had it before the giveaway there. Nicely done. Back to Keith. What company was cited in 2024 by the NHTSA after product recalls failed to fix its autopilot software in self-driving cars like the Model Y and the Cybertruck?
Tesla.
Another good one before the giveaway there. 10 points for Keith. Back to Marshall. In math, what term describes the process of breaking down a composite number into its prime number building blocks and is also the technical term for those blocks?
Factoring.
Yep, you factor it into its factors. 10 points. Back to Keith. What artistic tool is a specialized type of oven that is used to fire pottery to harden it?
I think so, right? A kiln. Okay. A kiln.
Kiln is correct. Good conferring there from Armin. Back to Marshall. Dame Jacinda Ardern left office in 2023 as Prime Minister of what Southern Hemisphere country, where she represented a suburb of Auckland?
New Zealand. New Zealand.
New Zealand is correct. 10 points there. Nicely confirmed from Sophia. Back to Keith. The hatchet-wielding Carry a Nation and Wayne Wheeler were among the most vocal supporters of what policy, which was enacted by the 18th Amendment and undone by the 21st?
Prohibition.
Prohibition is good for 10 points. Back to Marshall. Your computer can join various crowdsourced computing projects to study the folding of what long polypeptide molecules, which are made up of amino acids and synthesized by ribosomes.
Protein.
Protein is good for 10 points. Back to Keith. What mountain, about 15 miles away from the Moose's Tooth, was officially renamed in 2015 from Mount McKinley to the name used for centuries by native Alaskans?
Denali.
Denali is correct. And back to the Moose's Tooth for a second, you can climb that peak via the Toose's Mooth Path. Love that name. Back to Marshall. What last name is shared by the English Romantic poet Percy, who wrote Ozymandias, and his wife, Mary, who wrote some of the first science fiction novels, such as The Last Man?
Shelley.
Shelley is correct for 10 points. And that is how we'll end the volleyball round. Every question gotten correct. I'm not surprised in the slightest. Fantastic work for both teams. We have a score of Keith 170, Marshall 110. We'll take those scores into the Bergstrom bonus question right now.
Since April 1914, Wrigley Field has been the home of what baseball team?
Welcome back to Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl Junior Edition. A very fantastic match so far between Keith Country Day and Marshall. The score is 170 to 110, and it'll stay right there for the Bergstrom bonus question. Fingers on buzzers, students. There's no points at stake here, just pizza and pasta from Lino's of Rockford. Families at home got to see this question already. Here is your first go at it. So best of luck on this toss-up. Since April 1914, Wrigley Field has been the home to what? That is Jimmy.
The Cubs.
The Chicago Cubs is correct.
That'll work.
Pizza and pasta for Marshall. That'll work indeed. It's hard to believe, but the Cubs didn't play a night game in Wrigley Field until August 1988. And the first time they tried, it got rained out because they're not supposed to do that. Fantastic work for Marshall. We'll have the NECA IBEW lightning round coming up next for the scores to change very, very quickly. Stick around. Welcome back to Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl Junior Edition. It's time for the NECA IBEW lightning round between Keith Country Day and Marshall. Scores are going to change very, very quickly. Each of these lightning rounds has 100 points at stake, 10 points for each of 10 questions. Due to the coin flip, Marshall will control the first one. Your options this evening are European royal women, countries of Nobel Literature laureates, top concert tours.
Yeah, wait. Do we want to do literature tours?
Literature or concerts?
But we're not going to, like 2 concerts,
Yeah.
realistically. Let's just do literature.
Yeah.
Literature, no.
Nobel laureates, please.
The Nobel Literature laureates is the choice. Flipping the page. Instructions for this one, pretty simple. I'll give you some winners of the Nobel Prize in Literature. You'll name their home country. Very simple instructions on this one. Marshall, you'll have 60 seconds to get through each of these 10 questions. Anything is worth 10 points. Anything that you don't get right will pass over to Keith. Keith, you'll have 30 seconds to steal any of those. As a reminder, both teams, when you're controlling it and when you're doing your bounce backs, you can pass, and then we'll come back to it if there is time. Marshall, Jimmy, and the team, are you ready? Given some winners of the Nobel Prize in Literature, name their home countries. Alice Munro, the only winner from Ontario.
Canada.
Correct. Bertrand Russell and Winston Churchill.
England.
Is correct. Toni Morrison, Bob Dylan, and John Steinbeck.
America.
Is correct. Albert Camus and Jean-Paul Sartre.
Oh, France.
Is correct. Günter Grass, Hermann Hesse, and Thomas Mann.
Germany.
Is correct. Yasunari Kawabata and Kenzaburo Oe.
Wait, Japan.
Is correct. Thomas Transtromer, who received his award in his hometown, Stockholm.
Sweden.
Is correct. Juan Ramon Jimenez and Mario Vargas Llosa, who also has dual citizenship in Peru.
Italy. Wait. Pass.
Pass. William Butler Yeats and George Bernard Shaw.
Italy.
Sorry,
Oh,
no. Gabriela Mistral and her student Pablo Neruda, who lived in Santiago. Is correct. Back up to Juan Ramon Jimenez and Mario Vargas Llosa, who has dual citizenship in Peru.
Mexico.
Sorry, no. That is 8 correct for 80 points and 2 back for Keith. All right. Keith, Ottman, and the team, you'll have 30 seconds for these 2 parts. Take as much or as little time as you like. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Given some winners of the Nobel Prize in Literature, name their home countries. Juan Ramon Jimenez and Mario Vargas Llosa, who has dual citizenship in Peru.
Spain.
Spain's correct. And William Butler Yeats and George Bernard Shaw.
Ireland.
Ireland. Those 2 are correct to finish off the lightning round. 20 points for Keith.
Okay.
Keith, it's now time for your lightning round. Your options are European royal women, top concert tours.
Let's go European Royal Women.
European royal women is the choice. Now, very simple instructions on this one as well. I'll give you their home nation and some extra information. You'll name the royal women from European history. So you'll be naming the people on this one. And you'll have 60 seconds for each of these 10 parts. Marshall, you'll have 30 seconds to bounce back anything that Keith does not get. Otten and the team, are you ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Given their home nation and some extra clues, name some royal women from European history. The United Kingdom, Queen until her death in 2022.
Queen Elizabeth II.
Is correct. France, queen at the beginning of the French Revolution.
Marie Antoinette.
Correct. United Kingdom, namesake of a late 1800s era of modernization.
Victoria.
Correct. England, daughter of Anne Boleyn and Henry VIII.
Mary.
Sorry, no. Imperial Russia, a great Tsarina who overthrew her husband. Is correct. England, the first Tudor queen, succeeding her brother Edward VI.
Mary.
Mary is a prompt.
Mary the Bloody Queen.
I can take that.
Okay.
Imperial Russia, youngest daughter of Nicholas II, rumored to have survived.
Anastasia.
Anastasia is correct. Spain united the country with her husband, Ferdinand of Aragon.
Isabella of Castile.
Is correct. Holy Roman Empire, the only independent female Habsburg ruler.
Theodora.
Sorry, no. Sweden, scholarly 17th century queen who refused to marry.
Oh my God. Pass.
Back up to England, daughter of Anne Boleyn. Oh, sorry, that one was incorrect.
Yeah.
And that, there we go. Yep. So 7 correct and 3 incorrect there for 70 points for Keith, 3 going back to Marshall. 30 seconds on the clock. Team, are you ready to go? Here we go. 30 seconds. Given their home nation and some extra clues, name some royal women from European history. England, daughter
Elizabeth I.
Is correct. Holy Roman Empire, the only independent female Habsburg ruler.
Okay, Holy Roman Empire. Who is that? Oh wait, is that Mary Teresa? Teresa?
Prompt.
Mother Teresa?
Sorry, no.
No, wait.
And then Sweden, scholarly 17th century queen who refused to marry.
Say, wait.
No.
Mary the
Christina.
Christina is correct there at the last second. Nicely done by Sophia there. That gives us a score of Keith 260, Marshall 210. There was one question left there. The Holy Roman Empire, the only independent female Habsburg ruler is Maria Theresa. Maria Theresa. I wouldn't have been able to accept Mary Teresa, which I believe I heard. So no harm, no foul on that one, I guess. That is the end of the NECA IBEW lightning round. Like I said, Keith 260, Marshall 210, going to the Mercy Health final challenge. Best of luck, both teams. We'll get that going right after this. Welcome back to Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl Junior Edition. Our second semifinal is just about done. We've got the Mercy Health final challenge for you now. It's back to the buzzers, friends. 20 points for each of these questions, meaning this Keith 260, Marshall 210 score is going to change very, very quickly. It is all to play for. Both teams played fantastically. Best of luck in the Mercy Health final challenge. First toss-up. Name the epic poem in which Hector's body is dragged, that is Jimmy.
Odyssey.
I'm sorry, no. I'll finish for Keith. In which Hector's body is dragged around his city's walls by Achilles during the Trojan War. A poem, that is Ottman.
The Iliad.
The Iliad is correct. Missed coin flip there, but that's all right. 20 points for Keith to start the round. Next toss-up. What scientist who conducted studies on pitchblende that discovered radium and polonium, that is Sophia?
Curie.
Mary Curie is correct for 20 points. Toss-up 3. What ocean's arms include the Laccadive Sea, the Andaman Sea, and the Bay of Bengal? That is Sophia.
The Indian Ocean.
Is correct for 20 points. It's 2 in a row for Marshall. Next toss-up. Name the English author of manners novels like Mansfield Park. That is Lily.
Jane Austen.
Jane Austen's correct for 20 points. Next question. Nearly 60 million people watched a live stream of what sport during the 2023 ICC World Cup final? That is Ottman.
Cricket.
Cricket is correct for 20 points for Keith. Next toss-up. What term derived from the name of an Arabic language textbook written by, that is Sophia.
Algebra.
Algebra is correct for 20 points, written by Al-Khwarizmi. Next toss-up. What ruler who defeated Darius III at battles like Issus and Gaugamela was the son of Philip II of Macedon? That is Ottman.
Alexander the Great.
Alexander the Great's good for 20 points. Next question. What landmark, which could serve as a naumachia when flooded, is also known as the Flavian Amphitheater? This is Ottman.
The Colosseum.
Colosseum is correct. Colosseum in Rome. Next toss-up. What mythical people included Penthesilea and a queen who, that is Ottman.
Amazons.
The Amazons is correct, and a queen who owned a magical girdle, Hippolyta. Next toss-up. The directions line 157337 were the last known words of what woman who was with Fred, that is Jimmy.
Earhart.
Amelia Earhart is correct. Last words before her plane went down. Next toss-up. What composer used the Luther Bible as the basis for his German Requiem? Wrote it, that is Jimmy.
Mozart.
Sorry, now I'll finish for Keith. Wrote a symphony that was nicknamed Beethoven's 10th and is renowned for his namesake lullaby. That is Anthony.
Brahms.
Johannes Brahms is correct for 20 points. Next question. What disease is treated by artemisinin? That is Ottman.
Malaria.
That's a very good buzz, 20 points. Next question. Name the American poet who wrote about a creature that sings with a fearful, that is Jimmy.
Dickinson.
Sorry, no, I'll finish for Keith. Sings with a fearful trill of things unknown, but longed for still, in a poem that is the namesake of her autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. Ottman.
Angelou.
Maya Angelou is correct for 20 points. Next question. What royal family, which used the motto AEIOU, ruled the Holy Roman Empire under leaders like Charles V? That is Sophia.
Oh no. Macedons.
Sorry, no. Armand.
Swedish Empire.
Sorry, no, this is the House of Habsburg. Next question, not the question, that's the end of the round. Fantastic round for both teams, especially for Keith, taking home the victory. Raucous applause in the room for Keith, and none more so than for Marshall applauding the fantastic game there. Keith, congratulations, 420, 310. You'll be advancing to play against Belvedere Central in the final. Congratulations, we'll see you next week. And yes, indeed, another round of applause. And congratulations as well to Marshall, 310 points, a fantastic score. Marshall, who on the team is an 8th grader? So Benji and Jimmy will be seeing you in State Line proper, not Junior Edition, State Line Quiz Bowl next year. Lily and Sophia, we'll see you for Marshall next year, I hope. Excellent. And we'll see you next week for our final for Season 4. Belvedere Central versus Keith Country Day. See you there.